I'm taking a delegation of 28 senior New Zealand business leaders to both Shanghai and Beijing. Ministers Louise Upston and Mark Mitchell, alongside MP Nancy Liu, will be accompanying me. I'm very much looking forward to reconnecting with both President Xi and Premier Li. As you well know, China is New Zealand's largest trading partner, and it's a very vital part of our economic story. Two-way trade is now worth over $39 billion, and 20% of our goods and services exports go to China. It's also our third largest tourism market, with 248,000 arrivals from China in the past year, and of course there's opportunity for us to build that further, given we still haven't recovered to pre-COVID levels. And it's a similar story on international education, where we had about 25,000 students enrolled from China between January and August 24, and that still is below 2019 levels as well. I'll then travel on to Europe to undertake bilateral visits in Brussels, and then on to The Hague, where I'll meet with leaders, including from the European Union, to discuss trade and security and the shifting geopolitical landscape. And at the NATO summit, I'll also have one-on-one meetings with a number of NATO leaders before heading back to New Zealand on June 25. With that, happy to take your questions.
Are you expecting there to be any tension in China?
Look, I mean, we've got a lot of opportunity with the relationship with China. It's a long-standing, mature relationship. There's huge areas of cooperation that I know we both want to advance further. Obviously, like all of our mature relationships, we have differences too, but I think there's a tremendous amount of opportunities.
Is there more to the relationship than just trade?
Yeah, I think there is. I think China is a key actor and a key player in the global geopolitical landscape. I mean, you've got the second most populous country, you've got the second biggest economy in the world. They are a key actor, and so I'm sure there'll be a good discussion of regional and international issues, as well as obviously our bilateral relationship.
How will going to China help increase tourism and education?
Well, it's important of bringing Louise Upston in particular tourism. We're bringing some of our CEOs of our largest food and beverage firms, but also tourism and education sector representatives as well. And it's a chance for us to showcase and build awareness of those sectors back in the Chinese economy. I think that's been the key issue, frankly, around tourism and also around international education is a lack of awareness.
And will you be raising issues that Foreign Minister Winston Peters has raised in the past, including around China's Cook Islands and its activity in the Pacific?
Yeah, look, I'm not going to pre-discuss what we will be discussing in the bilateral relationships, but you've heard me say, this is a mature relationship. Yes, we have differences, but we raise those predictably, consistently, publicly and privately, and we'll continue to do so.
New Zealand's number one trading partner. I mean, to what degree are we trying to increase trade further as opposed to reducing reliance on China?
We're a small trading nation, and we want to do business with as many countries as possible, China included. And so we still think there's huge amounts of opportunity in China. There's 500 million people sitting in the middle class. They want premium food and beverage products. A lot of our New Zealand products are premium in nature and targeted to these niche segments. We want to continue to grow that.
Should we be expecting tangible outcomes out of this trip?
Well, I think there'll be a number of tangible announcements through the course of the trip, but I'm not going to announce them before getting there. But you can understand that there is a lot of areas for us to continue to deepen and collaborate around. Sorry.
New Zealand on the visa waiver list, will there be any reciprocation, from New Zealand?
Look, I'm not going to get into any announcements. Suffice to say that we want to continue to deepen the relationships that we have and the trade that we have as well. Sorry, Laura. He's not this time. He's been pretty flat out and he's been travelling a lot recently. But I have certainly Louise Upston, who is focused very much on tourism, but also on broader trade and employment opportunities as well.
Given that China is our largest trading partner, why isn't he joining you on your first?
Just purely one of logistics, but you shouldn't overread anything into that. I've taken two senior ministers with me, obviously Minister of Police, Minister of Ethnic Communities and Mark Mitchell, Minister Louise Upston, who's very attuned with tourism and trade issues as well, and obviously myself, who takes quite a big interest in the trade agenda.
How will the Māori economy be in this trip and the discussions? Did some of the leaders with you? How many of them are Māori?
Yeah, look, I can't remember off the top of my head. Just suffice to say, my observation, having been a member of delegations that have gone to China in the past, and just having observed Māori businesses in particular, they do exceptionally well in China. I think there's something quite special in the connection between the relationship between Māori and Chinese values, culture. There's a lot of similarities, and I've observed Māori businesses doing exceptionally well with Chinese partners. So I'm really excited about that. But yes, we do have representation, and also we're bringing a great kapahaka team with us as well, because it's a great connection to build those relationships, to build that rapport, so that we can then talk about further opportunities we can develop together.
What's the political message that you want to leave with the Chinese? What do you want them to think politically about New Zealand?
Well, just that this is an important, mature relationship. We want to see stability and security and peace in the region. They are a key actor to enable a lot of that in issues around the world, but also within our own region. And for us, really, very much to say, look, we've got a long-standing, it's a complex relationship, but it's actually a mature relationship, and there's still a lot of areas for us to continue to work together on, and we're excited about that.
Can you talk about the timing of the trip, sort of halfway through the term? Why is this trip happening now, and why didn't it happen sooner?
Well, if you just take a step back, Prime Minister Hipkins, went and visited in 2023. I hosted and reciprocated Premier Lee here in New Zealand last year. I had a very good bilateral with President Xi at the end of last year in Peru, in Lima, and then again, I'm now going to China. So that's a normal rhythm of things. So you shouldn't read too much into the timing of that.
On the NATO trip, are you looking for President Trump at the meeting?
Not sure. His schedule hasn't been buttoned down, and that's quite normal as we go into these things. If we do, it'll be very much a sideline sort of meeting.
And other leaders? Do you have any other leaders that you're intending to meet while there?
Before I get to the Netherlands, I will be meeting with Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the EU, and that's important. I'll do that in Belgium and Brussels, and then I'll also catch up with the Dutch Prime Minister, who's a good friend as well, before we kick off into NATO.
And what will you be looking for at that NATO meeting? What do you want to hear? What message are you going to be bringing?
Well, I mean, it's an opportunity for me at a bilateral sense to build, it's quite a great way to talk to a number of different leaders in quite a short, compressed time about the bilateral relationships we have with their countries. But obviously, you see huge connectivity between issues that are in the Euro-Atlantic region that are also in the Indo-Pacific region. And that's why, as a member of the IP4, we have an invitation as a partner, or an affiliate to NATO in that regard.
Are the other IP4 leaders going?
I spoke to Prime Minister Ishiba a couple of nights ago, and he's planning to be there. I'm just not aware of whether the other leaders are there or not.
Prime Minister, have there been developments on an Anzac trip to Ukraine? You've previously said that would be to align with the visit to Europe?
Yeah, not at this point, no.
No further conversation?
No.
Have you been briefed on the Israel-Iran situation, and how could that impact New Zealand if it was around the Middle East?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's pretty dynamic information that's coming through. I've seen the reports. I've also spoken with MFAT and been briefed on it as well. It's a really unwelcome development in the Middle East. The risk of miscalculation is high. That region does not need any more military action and risk associated with that. What we want to see is the parties coming together and having a conversation. We're aware, obviously, of the US-Iran conversations that are hoping to take place in Oman this weekend. We see that as a better pathway forward. But obviously, it's a huge concern to us. We have, obviously, our primary focus is on our consular staff that are making sure they're safe in Tehran. And they have been, and MFAT's doing a good job of looking after that. And obviously, we've been saying to many New Zealanders for some time now, do not travel to Iran. And obviously, MFAT will keep monitoring the situation, making sure the safety of New Zealanders is paramount.
Last questions, please.
Israel has taken this action before those conversations with the US government.
Look, I'm not going to read into that. I can't. My real message very clearly from what we can do here in New Zealand, a long, long way away from that conflict, is actually call for de-escalation to make sure that this is the last thing this region needs is more instability. This is potentially catastrophic for the Middle East, and we don't want to see that happen. And so our immediate focus, frankly, is on our consulate.
Costs to New Zealand?
Sorry?
Are there direct costs to New Zealand during a conflict like this?
Well, I mean, the real risk is actually in the short term is just making sure that our people are safe, and so that's our consular staff, but it's also New Zealanders that may be in the region, and that's what MFAT will keep monitoring very closely.
Please.
This week, the New Zealand government spoke to Israeli ministers of extremists.
Yeah.
Do you think this action, is it more of an extremist government? Do you think Israel?
Well, I mean, we have good actions for that. I mean, as you've seen, we've had a series of escalating sanctions against extremist settlers. I think 30+ individuals, as you well know, Benedict. In the case of these two ministers, it was extremist rhetoric and language that was inciting violence, but also encouraging more illegal settlements in the West Bank. And we've had a long-standing position those settlements are illegal under international law. But Look, as to this action, I mean, it's just the last thing the region needs, frankly, and I'll leave it at that for now. But I mean, our point of view is that we really want to make sure that this is a region that has got, military action is not solving the problems here. It has actually got to be about negotiation and the parties and the regional actors in particular calling for a de-escalation.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just to express, tremendous sadness of what is an absolute tragedy. Obviously, it's way too early to speculate as to what has caused it. I do plan to be communicating with Prime Minister Modi and sending our thoughts to him and his people from India as well. Yes, and I'll be also talking to Campbell as well. Yes, I do know.
Thanks very much.
Okay, thanks, guys.